what would you really like to get from this last game that would leave you kind of purring going into Christmas?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to congratulate the organisers of the tournament. I think they've done a fantastic job. To put a tournament on in such difficult circumstances is quite a feat, and it's been good competitive rugby, and we're pleased to be in the final. But there's one game to go. How would we like to play? We'd like to dominate France. How we do that will be dependent on what sort of game it is. So we can't control what sort of game it is. But just looking at rugby at the moment, it is certainly a tough physical game, and it's a real game for the purists at the moment. It reminds me a lot of going back to 2007 World Cup, where defences were predominant. Kicking was one of the major ways to get ahead in the game. And so we go through these periods of the game, and the next cycle is always an attacking cycle. So let's enjoy the defensive cycle that we've got at the moment and look forward to the attacking cycle when it comes.
Is that a result of independent on the kind of law changes and the changes of focus? And will that change? Will that only change if there are further changes, or coaches like you want to go away and find ways to manufacture space under the current guidelines?
Well, it's always dependent on the laws. When we get quick ball, we're able to play with some space and with some time. And you just look at every side in the world now, they're so much better organised in terms of their defence. Everyone's getting off the line harder. And time and space is at a premium. And unless we're able to get consistently quick ball, it's very difficult to play with any sort of fluency.
Thank you.
Chris Jones, we'll come to you, please.
Hi, Eddie. The offside line, in that whole discussion you're just having there, where does that come into it? And is it being refereed the way that you'd like it to be to create the space that's so vital?
Well, I think, at the start of the post lockdown, the New Zealand Super Rugby, the New Zealand referees went very hard at the offside, went very hard at the breakdown, and they were roundly criticised. So it seems like people want to have both sides of the cake. They don't want the referee to referee the laws, and then when we get slow ball, they criticise the game. So I can't work out what people want. I've always been an advocate of the referees there to referee the laws of the game, to enforce the laws of the game. And if we have high penalty counts, so be it. But the bonus of having high penalty counts is that you're able to get quick ball.
Thanks. Duncan, we'll come to you next, please.
Hi, Eddie. Just one on France. I realise it's beyond your control, and you can only face the opposition that place against you. But are you disappointed you won't be playing their strongest side this weekend?
Oh, we're looking forward to the game, mate. We're so excited about the game. We've worked hard for 9 weeks to get to this position, so we're excited about the game. We can't control what opposition's put out there. We're not even worrying about it, mate. But we know whatever side France puts out, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be tough. They've won the last 2 under-20s World Cup, I think. So they've got plenty of good players, and we're not concerned about that one iota. It's out of our control, mate.
Okay, so having worked so hard to get to this point, would it devalue the final in your eyes to an extent?
Well, as I said, we don't care who they put out there. All we can do is play to our best. We're worried about our performance, how we can improve our performance. And the championship week, the final week, it's always the greatest learning week. You learn a lot about yourselves. You learn a lot about your teammate. You learn a lot about how you operate as a team. And we've had, in the last 13 months, we've had one unsuccessful final. So we've learned from that, and we'd like to put our learnings into practice for this week.
So clearly, clearly, Alfie Barberi's caught your eye. What sort of role will he play in camp this week?
Well, he's got to work hard, mate. He's a young bloke coming in. He's shining boots, picking up forks and spoons, doing all the apprentice work. He's got a long way to go before he plays Test rugby, but he's certainly a player of potential, and we're looking forward to him training this week.
Do you see him as a hooker or a back row?
Well, for us, he's a hooker.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. If we've got Neil Barker will come to you. Thank you.
Hi Eddie, hope you're well. Just has there been any thoughts of kind of revenge crossing your minds and the players' minds for the defeat in the Six Nations in February with this game on the weekend?
Not revenge as such, but it's learning. What did we learn from the game in Stade de France? And again, what did we learn from the World Cup final? How do we prepare for a final game? So we're looking forward to putting all of that into practice this week.
Just one more. How are you approaching the game with fans finally being allowed back into Twickenham? How excited are you about that? It's only going to be 2,000, but does that make much of a difference?
Oh, we're pleased for rugby and we're pleased to have people watching the game live. But, we've been concerned about ourselves generating our own atmosphere, generating our own enthusiasm for the game. And, those 2,000 people, I'm sure they're going to cause a lot of noise. So I'll be looking forward to that.
Mitch, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, hi Eddie. Just slightly left field question. Just wondering if you saw the Ireland-Georgia game on Sunday and how important you think it is for kind of world rugby and development to see how Georgia have come on now they've had a chance to play back-to-back games or 4 games against tier one nations.
Yeah, no, I did watch the game. It was a good, tough game of rugby. And, I think Georgia's shown that with consistent competition and I've got the personal experience of being with Japan, that the more you play tier one countries, the more your players are given an opportunity to benchmark themselves, and they understand where the gap is between being where they are in tier 2 and being tier 1. So those games are vital. And again, as I said at the start, congratulations to the organisers for this tournament. They're giving Georgia a chance. Unfortunately, Fiji, because of circumstances out of anyone's control, haven't been able to play. But it was an opportunity for them to develop their rugby as well. So I think it's been a really worthwhile exercise.